I was injured in a really bad car accident in June of 2009. I was 25 years old. And about 7 years, almost to the day later, I got in another really horrible car accident. And those two accidents were very severe. I suffered a traumatic brain injury. I fractured and herniated 10 vertebrae in my neck and my lower back. I tore my right rotator cuff. I actually had paralysis of my right dominant arm and hand for several months following the accident from the nerve damage that I had. At one point, my shoulder actually was frozen and it caused a cross compensation from my right shoulder to my left hip. So that was frozen too. So when I walk, I joke now because I kind of walked like the Quasimodo from the Hunchback of Notre Dame. That's kind of what I looked like because my gait was off. My arm would not swing. So I looked very, very weird. And that was probably the only time during my accident that you ever knew that there was really anything wrong with me because it was all internal. And so I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress, depression, anxiety, migraine headaches. I had horrible insomnia. I barely slept during this time period, which is actually why Dr. Michelle put me on an all vegetable detox to get rid of heavy metals that I basically was not getting rid of because I wasn't getting into that REM sleep for over a decade and chronic pain. So I found AVACEN, like Danielle said, almost 3 years ago now. It's coming up, my anniversary, but I was skeptical like most people. I didn't know if it was going to help me, but I knew that microcirculation, I knew what that meant. So I was like, this is something I got to look into a little bit more. So I only mention and am going to mention these painful things that I went through so that you understand the extent. But I had a resting pain level of 6 out of 10. I would try things and yeah, they would help temporarily, but I'd be right back there. And yes, it could get worse too. Sometimes, I put my shirt on and I pull a muscle and I couldn't turn my head for 2 weeks. I was messed up. My days were spent in and out of doctor's appointments. I could have 9 or 10 doctor's appointments a week. So that was like my life between that and physical therapy. So I actually went and typed this up because this is how much stuff that I went through. And I'm going to read it to you so you understand. Wow. I was on over 30 different types of prescription medications, 12 at one time. So I was an absolute zombie. This is after the first accident. I went through years of physical therapy, acupuncture. I tried massage, all kinds, deep tissue massage. I had shockwave therapy. There may be things that you may not know what they even are on here. AVACEN. I did CHEK therapy as well, which is corrective holistic exercise kinesiology to try and help and adjust all of my imbalances. I did hyperbaric chambers. I was on the Tecker machine. I did traction regularly, the ultrasound machine to help bring down scar tissue. I went into infrared saunas on a regular basis. Electrostimulation. I have one of the TENS machines here at my house. Red and infrared light, pulse electromagnetic frequencies. I had hundreds of trigger point injections. I had a PRP injection in my right shoulder, which actually is what caused the shoulder to freeze. I had an adverse reaction to it, which then caused the hip to freeze. I had stem cell injections, cortisone injections. I had exosome therapy. I got epidurals. I had nerve ablations, where they actually went into the surgery center and burned the nerves in my back. I had nerve blocks in my neck, back, low back, and shoulder. I was doing yoga about 4 hours after my second accident because I refused to take prescription medications because it was so hard to get off of them the first time. Pilates, swimming. I got a personal trainer. I was doing active and static stretching every single day, at least an hour a day. I was even doing other healing modalities like listening to binaural beats to help heal my brain injury, and doing breath work and meditation and sound healing. And the sound healing is actually something that I personally do now because it did help with my recovery of my brain injury. And so now, again, these are some things that insurance covered, and these are some things that insurance did not cover. And so they were very expensive. I've spent all of my money and savings on getting my body and my health back to what it needs to be so that I could live a functional and normal life. Up until the time I found AVACEN, I had not worked in a very, very long time. And sadly, in 2018, which was 9 years of suffering with basically debilitating chronic pain, I nearly drank myself to death. I had plateaued in my recovery, and This is what I've never talked about before. I was so miserable.
Oh.
I wanted to escape what I was feeling every day. And eventually it became a problem. It became a problem for me. I was in and out of the hospital trying to get better. Ultimately, back to where I started, which was alone in pain and just crawling out of my skin with anxiety. I had horrible migraines. I was having severe depression. I couldn't sleep well. And I was just in pain all the time, and it wasn't getting any better, and nobody had any solutions for me. So I was just so far gone that I didn't even recognize the person that I saw in the mirror anymore. So when I found this machine, I was basically on it for 30 minutes every 2 hours. It took a week for me to even notice a dent in my pain level. It dropped from like a 6 to a 5, but I noticed that there was something was happening. And so I kept going, I kept going, I kept going. And 30 days later, I had my first moment in over a decade with no pain. And I just remember just bawling my eyeballs out because I never thought that I was going to have that ever again. So it's been the only thing that I've added to my already healthy and active lifestyle, with exception to this year or so that I almost drank myself to death. I've always been very healthy and done well for my body. And so it just, in 2.5 years, I've gotten so many side benefits. I mean, I sleep wonderfully. In fact, I fall asleep a lot of times with my hand in the machine now. And when they first told me that would happen, I literally laughed in their faces because I'm like, you don't understand. I have like 5 pillows around me at night. I've got one that holds my shoulder up. I got one behind my back. I got one between my knees. Like half my bed is pillows. So I love this machine. I talk about it with everybody that I come into contact with. I'm sure some of my friends are like, would you just shut up about the machine? And some of them are like, will you please bring the machine over? Because they know how amazing it is and they can feel the effects of it. Many of them have bought machines, my best friends and our mom and my family. And a lot of people tell me my skin's glowing all the time. And, my hair's thicker, my nails grow great. I mean, I have a vein in my left leg that doesn't hurt anymore that used to, and I had to get like injections and things. And for the first time this April, which I have been trying to do since I got hurt 13 years ago now, I was able to do a 30-day fitness challenge, doing high intensity classes, 30 days in a row without hurting myself. And
wow, Brittany.
I was so on the moon when I finished that. I mean, everybody was like, wow, that's so awesome. Because it was bar class and it was super intense. And everyone was like, wow, that's so impressive that you keep going. I said, you have no idea what this means to me. Like I don't care about anything about what's going on here. This is what this means to me. The fact that I can do this again and I can feel like I'm not able, I don't have to hold myself back, and I can do the things that I love and go out dancing and function, the things that we just take for granted, people with chronic pain. And this is one of the things with Marissa's clients that are dealing with injuries that, are just unbearable. It's hard to get out of bed, just to even put your clothes on and to walk out the door and to not have that feeling, to have my sparkle back, as I say, that's why my nickname is Sparkles. It's just amazing. I love this machine, and I'm so grateful for getting to tell my story. And I hope that, you guys can help other people out there, because there are so many people that are suffering just like me. And my goal is to find them and to find and help them. I want people to understand that this thing can really do what it says that it does. And I know the FDA clearances and all this stuff, but like, this is real, and I got my life back.